Okay, here we go. We're going to teach you how to use GradeSheets version 1.0. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and make a copy. Call this PD. And close the other one so we don't get confused. So after you made a copy, you're ready to start editing. I'm going to show you how to today set up, fix your course weightings, do your roster sync, adding assignments, and some tips and tricks while using it, as well as the attendance in this first video. So first up, there's two videos on the instruction sheet. After you get the hang of it, you can delete here, but please go ahead after using it, provide some feedback once you've seen what it looks like or used it for a bit. So first things first, we want to start with our grade tab. So we have some errors popping up here, dividing by 0. We're going to sort that when we put in our course weightings, but let's go ahead and first fill out. Go ahead and that. And so we don't get these divide by arrow, we need to fill in our course weightings, which is this tab. So anything in green, you can go ahead and fill out. And as long as these will be turning to blue when they've satisfied the requirements. We need to add to 100, so we're going to go 70. You don't have to have your ISU and your exam split as long as they add up to 30 combined. If you have just an ISU 30%, that's okay. If you have just an exam at 30%, however your course is set up. So we need also some course weighting. So let's go 14, 15, 15, and these can be interchangeably. You can change them around how you want, as long as they add up to 100. Now that we have our course weightings, we can go back to our grade, and as long as there's an example assignment here and it's taking the weighting, we'll have a 0, so we're ready to go. But first we need to look at our roster. Our roster also has two other tabs, which I'm going to show you here. And that is just for email and parents email, which we'll talk to you about in a second. Also hidden here is a tab, and this is pretty important. This one and 11, 12 through 48, and a bunch of columns here. We'll take a look at them, that you don't mess with some of these formulas going on down here, because it's pretty important, and that's where all of our calculations are going through. So just make sure they stay hidden. But if you know what you're doing, you can change them around to sort your needs if you know what you're doing. So we're going to hide those columns. Same with down here. This is where all of the math is happening behind the scenes. So we're going to go ahead and fill out our roster. You can do it by hand, but a really quick and easy way to do if you're working with classrooms is just to use roster sync. So I'm going to go ahead and use rosters to sync and launch it out. I have a fake roster for PD purposes only that we're going to be using today. After this training, and go ahead and run that sync. So it's running the sync here and grabbing our sheets from our classroom. It can also go the other way. You can make edits to these names and update your classroom if you need to. So pro tip here is to get their parents' email eventually, but you can just run a form to gather that information. We're just going to use the information we have here. So we're going to go to grade, just a quick little formula here, equal. Go ahead and close this. Then we can just drag across. Drag down as well. So we're not taking up as much room here. You can always hide these two columns here, because those are important to have the email when we'll be running some mail merges later when we do online report cards and parent reports and progress reports. We're going to need this email. We're also going to need parents' email, but right now we don't need to have that information just for this tutorial. So going back to grade, we now need to start adding assignments. So example, your assignment here, the date here, you can just double click to add date. These will give you little tips in case you forget what's going on. So I can just double click, pick the date of the assessment. The weighting, you have the options of 0, 1, 2. So 0 will make it so it's not weighted anything. And depending how you weight your quizzes, tests, and assignments, the weighting options are there. The category is all of the categories we looked at in our weightings. So it's a drop-down menu here, and you can just pick and choose from that list as well. And the score is actually what the test is out of. So let's go ahead and See how it works. We'll put in some fake scores here. You can see it how it's working there. If you don't want a quiz or someone's absent, the trick here is to use no. It's also going to be counted as a missed assignment here, and it'll count misses and zeros. Since we don't have a mark yet, that's going to give us a divide by error, but if we have a second column, it won't divide by 0 and give you an actual mark. So we're going to go ahead and put some marks in. Just quickly, I'll copy them from another grade book to show you how it would look with full marks in it. Go ahead and copy those in, just for formatting. So this is more what a grade mark would look like. These first 3 assignments are just assessment 4, so they're not actually marked as anything, but these are assessment up here. So it's a unit test, or is there a quiz or something? It's going to count the no's and the zeros and the missed assignments here, and it'll give you more accurate marks. That's what it's going to look like. That's all we're going to talk about. Actually, we're going to talk about attendance, and then we'll get to the advanced skills here as well. So stay tuned. Attendance tracker is pretty straightforward. You can hide columns like I showed you before, so when you're up to the date, but there's only 2 options, absent and late. Those are going to count as well when it's there. So it's pretty straightforward. Just hide the columns. So it's always just the next available column to the date, and it has the whole semester up until July something. So it'll work for this. So that's the first intro video. Definitely watch the second video when we start taking marks from things like when we use Doctopus and to get marks, and how to use those efficiently with our new grade sheet, which was the whole point of making this grade sheet. Another tab here, though, just to make a note of, is our percentages. This is locked. It'll just give you a heat map of how well students are doing. So students that are doing quite well will be white or lighter color. Students that are having more problems will be shaded darker. So you can quickly just look at this and check out what's going on with your class.